Ayan was running through the crowded street with a file in his hand. His shirt was slightly untucked, his hair was messy, and sweat was rolling down his forehead. Today was not a normal day. Today was the big interview he had waited for since months. It was the interview that could change his whole life. And still, here he was. Running. Ayan kept checking the time on his phone. He had only 20 minutes left. The office was far, and the traffic was crazy. But he didn't stop running. He kept pushing himself forward, breathing fast, hoping that maybe, somehow, he would still make it. People around him were walking calmly, talking on phones, sipping tea. But Ayan felt like the entire world was speeding up except him. Every passing second felt like a heavy stone added to his chest. He whispered to himself, "Please, not today. I can't be late today." The narrator's voice explained softly. Ayan did not know that this day would change his life in a way he'd never imagined. As Ayan turned the corner, something suddenly caught his attention. On the left side of the road, a small car was stopped. Smoke was coming out from under the hood, and next to the car stood a young woman. She looked worried, frustrated, and almost ready to cry. She kept trying to call someone, but the call wasn't connecting. People walked past her without stopping. Ayan slowed down for a second. His heart dropped. Should he help her? Should he walk away and save his future? He looked at the time again. 16 minutes left. His dream job? His months of preparation? His only chance. And then he looked at the girl again. She looked so helpless. She was trying to open the car door, but it was jammed. Her hands were shaking. Ayan took a deep breath. Inside his mind, a fight began. One voice said, "If you stop, you will miss everything." Another voice said, "But she needs help." He pressed his lips together. And then he stepped toward her. "Excuse me," he said softly. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up, surprised. "My car? It just stopped, and the door is stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm already late for something important." Ayan gave a small smile. "It's okay. Let me try." He placed his file on top of the car and began checking the hood. The smoke was slowing down, which was a relief. Then he helped her open the door with force. It took a minute, but it finally unlocked. The girl sighed with relief. "Thank you so much." Nobody stopped to help. Ayan smiled again, but inside his heart something else was happening. He checked his phone again. 12 minutes left. He knew he should leave. But the girl looked lost. Her tire was also flat. Everything was going wrong for her. "Do you have a spare tire?" Ayan asked. "Yes, but I don't know how to change it," she admitted with embarrassment. Ayan hesitated. He looked at the road, looked at the sky, looked at the time, and then he bent down and started fixing the tire. It took time, more time than he expected. The sun was hitting his back. Sweat dripped down his neck. His hands got dirty, but he didn't stop. Finally, the tire was fixed. The girl smiled with deep gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you. You saved me today." Ayan wanted to smile back, but his heart was heavy. He felt his future slipping away with each second. He grabbed his file, checked the time. He froze. The interview had already started. He was officially late. Right then, a notification flashed on his phone. Interview closed. Candidates will not be allowed inside after scheduled time. Ayan closed his eyes for a moment. Silence, pain, shock. The narrator whispers, Ayan had just lost his biggest chance. But he did not know. The person he helped was about to change his life. Ayan stood silently, holding his file tightly, trying to calm his breathing. His heart felt heavy, almost numb. Months of preparation. One dream chance, all gone. He kept staring at the message on his phone. His mind was empty yet filled with pain at the same time. The girl looked at his face closely. She noticed how quickly his smile had faded. She noticed the way his hands were shaking slightly, the way his eyes refused to meet hers. Something was wrong. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Ayan forced a small smile. Yes, I'm okay." But his voice sounded weak. Almost broken, the girl stepped closer. Please tell me. I feel like I caused some trouble for you. Ayan stayed quiet for a moment. Then finally he said in a low voice, I had a job interview today. An important one. And I'm late now. I missed it. Her eyes widened. What? Because of helping me? Ayan shrugged gently. It's okay. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. But his eyes told the truth. He was hurt. The girl felt a wave of guilt wash over her. She looked at the road, then back at Ayan. She couldn't just leave him like this. Something inside her told her that he deserved help. Real help? Come with me, she said suddenly. Ayan blinked. What? Why? I will drop you to the office, she insisted. Maybe you can still talk to someone there. Ayan shook his head. It's too late. Still, she said firmly. Let's try. There was something in her voice, confidence, kindness, and a strange sense of responsibility. Ayan hesitated for a second, then finally nodded. They sat in her car. The air inside was quiet, almost too quiet. The girl kept glancing at him, feeling guilty. Ayan kept looking out the window, replaying the moment he helped her. He didn't regret helping her. But losing the interview hurt deeply. After a few minutes, she broke the silence. What's your name? She asked gently. Ayan. I'm Sarah, she said with a soft smile. And I'm really sorry, Ayan. He nodded, politely but without saying much. He didn't want to make her feel worse. That wasn't his nature. He believed in kindness, no matter what happened. Sarah looked at his file on his lap. Can I see your CV? She asked. Ayan looked surprised. My CV? Why? Just curiosity, she said hesitantly. Maybe I can help in some way. Ayan wasn't sure how she could help, but her voice was honest. He slowly handed her the file. Sarah opened it and began reading. Her eyes moved slowly across every line. Education, projects, part-time jobs, achievements, everything. Ayan watched her quietly. She was reading too carefully, as if something inside those pages was very important to her. For a moment, he wondered who she really was. Sarah closed the file. Her face looked thoughtful. You're talented, Ayan. Really talented. Ayan smiled a little. Thank you. They finally reached the office building. Ayan stepped out and looked up at the tall glass structure. The security guard outside checked his list and shook his head. No more entries, the guard said. Ayan nodded slowly. He expected that Sarah came and stood beside him. She looked at the building with a strange expression, like she knew something about this place. Something Ayan didn't. You work here? Ayan asked. Sarah paused for a second before replying. Not exactly. But I know people here. Her voice changed slightly. Not arrogant, but confident. She turned to him. Ayan, don't lose hope. Sometimes life closes one door only to open a better one. Ayan sighed softly. I hope so. Sarah looked at his CV one more time, then handed it back with a small smile. Give me some time, she said quietly. Maybe I can do something. Before Ayan could ask what she meant, she walked toward her car. Ayan watched her leave, confused, curious, and a little hopeful. The narrator's voice fades in. Ayan thought the day was over, but he had no idea that Sarah was about to change everything. Part 2 ends here. The next morning was strangely quiet. Ayan woke up earlier than usual, but not because he was excited. His mind was heavy. He kept thinking about yesterday, about the interview he missed, and about Sarah's strange words before she left. Give me some time. Maybe I can do something. What did she mean? Who was she really? And how could she help him? Ayan sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the floor. He had no plan now. He didn't know what to do next. His dream job was gone. He felt like all his hard work had disappeared in one moment. He sighed and forced himself to start the day anyway. Just as he picked up a cup of tea, his phone buzzed. He checked the screen casually, expecting some random message, but his eyes widened instantly. From HR department, Starline Corporation subject. Special interview session invitation. Ayan almost dropped the cup. He read the email again. And again, they wanted him to come to the office at 2 p.m. for a special interview round. His heart began beating fast. Why were they calling him? They had clearly closed the interview yesterday. Why him? The narrator's voice whispers. Some surprises come silently, but they change everything loudly. Ayan quickly got dressed, double-checked his file, and left for the office. His mind was full of questions, but one face kept appearing: Sarah. Did she do this? But how? He reached the office early. This time the guard smiled at him and allowed him inside without any questions. The staff at the front desk also looked at him with a polite smile. It's almost like they had been waiting for him. Ayan noticed the change. Everyone was behaving too nicely, too respectfully. He felt nervous, but also hopeful. The receptionist stood up and said, "Jan, please go to meeting room 3. Someone will be with you shortly." Jan nodded and walked toward the room. His hands were cold. His heartbeat was fast. He kept thinking that maybe this was a mistake. Maybe they sent the email to the wrong person, but he still entered the room. It was large, clean, and quiet. Sunlight came through the glass wall. Ayan sat on the chair and waited. The silence felt long. The ticking of the clock felt louder than usual. 15 minutes passed. No one came. Ayan's anxiety grew. Finally, he heard footsteps approaching. The sound was slow, confident, and steady. Ayan looked at the door. The handle turned. The door opened, and Ayan's eyes widened in shock. It was Sarah. She walked in, wearing a formal navy blue suit, holding a laptop in her hand. Her expression was calm, professional, but also warm. Ayan stood up instantly, unable to hide his surprise. "Sarah," he whispered. She smiled softly. "Good afternoon, Ayan. What are you doing here?" he asked, confused and shocked. She placed the laptop on the table and sat across from him. Then, in a gentle but firm tone, she said, "I didn't get the chance to tell you yesterday. I joined Starline Corporation this week as the new department manager." Ayan's mouth fell open slightly. He was speechless. Sarah continued, "Yesterday was my first day. Today is my second, and I have the right to choose candidates for my team." Ayan's heartbeat started racing again, but this time, it wasn't from fear. "That's why," she said, looking directly into his eyes. "I arranged a special interview session only for you." Ayan blinked. Trying to process what he was hearing, Sarah leaned back in her chair and added softly, "When you helped me yesterday, you didn't know who I was. You didn't know it could benefit you. You helped me simply because you are a good person. I value that." Ayan felt a strange mix of emotion: shock, hope, gratitude. "So," Sarah said with a smile, opening her laptop, "shall we begin the interview?" Ayan straightened his back, took a deep breath, and nodded. Double quotes, "Yes, I'm ready." The narrator's voice fades in softly. He had missed his interview. But destiny had prepared another one for him. Ayan took a deep breath as Sarah opened her laptop. The room suddenly felt warmer, even though the air conditioner was on. His heartbeat was fast, but his mind tried to remain calm. This was not the interview he had prepared for. This was something completely different. Sarah sat with a professional posture, yet her eyes carried a softness that made Ayan feel safe. She began speaking in a calm voice. "Ayan," she said, "before we start, I want you to relax. This is not a test. This is a conversation." Ayan nodded, though his nerves still trembled inside him. Sarah continued, "I read your CV last night. You have strong skills. But skills alone don't tell me who you are. I want to know the person behind the CV." Ayan swallowed gently. This was different from any interview he imagined. She asked her first question, "Why do you want this job?" Ayan thought for a moment. Instead of saying something perfect or rehearsed, he spoke honestly. "I want stability," he said softly. "I want to support my family. I want to grow. And I want a chance to prove myself." Sarah nodded slowly, listening carefully. "And what makes you suitable for this position?" she asked next. Ayan looked at the table for a second, then met her eyes. "I am not perfect," he said, but I always give my best. I don't run from challenges. Even if I fall, I stand again. I work hard. Really hard." Sarah's eyes softened even more. This was not the usual answer she heard from candidates. There was no show-off, no fake confidence, just truth. She asked another question, one that surprised him. "If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?" Ayan took a deep breath. "Maybe I care too much. Sometimes helping others makes me sacrifice my own goals." Sarah looked at him with a little smile. "Like yesterday." Ayan felt a slight embarrassment. He nodded. "I didn't plan to be late. I just saw someone who needed help." "And you chose kindness over your chance," she said softly. Ayan didn't know how to respond. He simply lowered his eyes for a moment. The silence in the room was warm, not awkward. Sarah clicked something on her laptop and then asked her next question. "If someone gives you an opportunity, how will you use it?" Ayan's voice was steady now. "I will respect it. I will work for it. I will never take it for granted." Sarah leaned forward and placed her hands on the table. "Ayan, I am not just interviewing you. I am trying to understand your heart." This line made Ayan look up instantly. Sarah continued, "Most people speak big words during interviews. But you speak simple words with true meaning. That matters to me." Ayan felt something shift inside his chest. He had always believed that being a good person mattered, yet life rarely rewarded him for it. Sarah took a pause, then asked the final question. "What motivates you the most?" Ayan answered without thinking too much. "My mother," he said softly. "She works so hard every day. I want to make her proud." Sarah smiled. A warm, gentle, honest smile. She closed her laptop slowly, creating a soft click sound that echoed in the quiet room. "That's all for today," she said. Ayan's heart tightened. "Is it over?" "Yes," she replied. "And you did well." "Very well." Ayan felt a wave of relief wash over him, but at the same time, a new wave of anxiety rose. "Will I get the job?" he asked carefully. Sarah didn't answer immediately. She stood up, walked toward the window, and looked outside for a moment. Sunlight touched her face, making her expression unreadable. Finally, she turned back to him. "Ayan, the decision will be sent tomorrow morning," she said with a soft but mysterious tone. Ayan nodded politely. Even though his mind had 1,000 questions as he walked to the door, Sarah said one last line. "Whatever happens, remember, sometimes life sees your goodness before your talent." Ayan left the room quietly, but his heart felt louder than ever. The narrator's voice fades in. He came for an interview. But he didn't know he had already impressed her long before entering the room. The night felt unusually long. Ayan lay in bed staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered Sarah's words from the interview. Sometimes life sees your goodness before your talent. What did she mean by that? Was it a hint? Or was it just a polite line? Ayan wasn't sure. He turned left, then right, trying to relax. But the mix of hope and fear kept him awake. Somewhere deep inside, he wished he would wake up to good news. Yet another part of him feared disappointment. By the time morning arrived, his eyes were slightly red. He checked the time, 7:42 a.m. He quickly grabbed his phone and refreshed his email. Nothing. He waited. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Still nothing. His heart sank a little. Maybe the decision wasn't ready yet. Maybe they chose someone else. He tried to distract himself, washed his face. Made tea, cleaned his table, but still. His eyes kept going to the phone screen again and again. Finally. At 9:16 a.m., his phone, vibrated.ayan, froze. He didn't even breathe. The notification read, "New email. Starline Corporation. Decision update." His fingers trembled as he unlocked the screen. His heart raced faster with every second. He clicked on the email at first. The words felt blurry. Then he read clearly, "Congratulations, Ayan. You have been selected." For a moment, he simply stared at the screen, unable to believe it. His breath caught in his throat. He read the line again, and again. A soft smile spread across his face. His eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of relief, joy, gratitude. He pressed the phone to his chest and whispered, "Thank you. Thank you, God." His mother walked into the room just then. "Why are you smiling like that?" she asked lovingly. Ayan looked up at her with shining eyes. "Amy, I got the job." Her face lit up instantly. She grabbed his hands with happiness. "Really? Oh, Ayan, I'm so proud of you." He hugged her tightly. A burden he had carried inside for years felt suddenly lighter. After getting ready, he left for the office. The walk from the gate to the building felt magical. The same place where he wasn't allowed yesterday. Today welcomed him. The receptionist smiled brightly. "Congratulations, Ayan. You can go to the manager's office." Ayan thanked her and walked toward Sarah's office. His heart was beating fast again, but this time with excitement rather than fear. He knocked gently. "Come in," Sarah's voice called from inside. He opened the door. Sarah was standing near her desk, arranging some files. When she saw Ayan, a soft smile appeared on her face. "Congratulations," she said warmly. "Thank you," Ayan replied, still unable to hide his happiness. "Thank you for giving me this chance." Sarah looked at him with calm confidence. "You earned it," she said. "This wasn't a favor," Ayan blinked. "But yesterday? You created a special interview for me." Sarah walked closer, her tone sincere. "I didn't do that because I felt sorry. I did it because you deserved a fair chance. Not everyone would stop to help a stranger and sacrifice something important. When I read your CV and then saw your kindness, I knew you had something special." Ayan listened quietly. Sarah continued, "In this company, I don't just look for talent. I look for character. And you have strong character." Ayan felt something warm inside his chest. No one had ever said that to him before. She handed him a folder. "This contains your joining details. Your position starts next week." Ayan held the folder with both hands, as if holding something precious. Just then, Sarah spoke again, softly but firmly. "Ayan, you didn't lose your chance yesterday. You created a new one." These words touched Ayan deeply. He felt understood, appreciated, seen. He nodded with a grateful smile. "I won't disappoint you." "I know you won't," Sarah replied, as Ayan walked out of her office. The narrator's voice faded in. Sometimes destiny arrives quietly. Sometimes success comes not from being perfect, but from being human. Ayan's first week at the job felt like a dream he never wanted to wake up from. Every morning he arrived early, worked with full dedication, and stayed humble, just like always. People in the office liked him almost instantly. He spoke softly, worked quietly, and helped everyone without showing off. Still, there was one question in his mind that he never asked. Why did Sarah help him so much? Why him out of hundreds of candidates? Ayan believed he got the job because of his interview, but a small part of him wondered if Sarah had done something more. But he never gathered the courage to ask. He didn't want to sound ungrateful or doubtful. One afternoon, his team gathered for a welcome meeting. Everyone introduced themselves. When it was Ayan's turn, he stood up nervously and spoke in simple words. "My name is Ayan. I'm grateful to be here. I will try my best to support the team." The whole room smiled, impressed by his humility. Sarah, who sat at the front, watched him with a thoughtful expression. She had seen many employees, but Ayan's sincerity was rare. Days passed. Ayan worked hard, learned fast, and proved himself with every task. But destiny had one final surprise waiting for him. It was a Friday morning when Sarah called him to her office. Her tone was normal, but something in her voice felt different, more serious, more personal. Ayan entered nervously. "You called me, ma'am?" Sarah looked up with a soft smile. "Yes. Sit down, Ayan." He sat carefully, confused but attentive. Sarah closed her laptop and folded her hands on the table. "Ayan, there is something I want to tell you. Something I haven't shared yet." Ayan's stomach tightened. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," she said quickly, shaking her head. "You didn't do anything wrong, in fact. This is about why I chose you. Ayan's heartbeat increased. He leaned slightly forward, listening closely. Sarah took a deep breath and began softly. 3 years ago, I was in your place, searching for a job, running from interview to interview, trying to support my family. Nobody gave me a chance. I felt invisible. Ayan nodded slowly, understanding the pain behind her voice. One day, she continued, my car broke down. I asked people for help. Many ignored me. Many looked away. But one young man, someone just like you, stopped and helped me. Because of him, I reached my interview on time and got the job that changed my life. Ayan listened, surprised. But still not knowing where the story was going, Sarah continued. When I saw you helping me that morning, I felt like life was repeating itself. I saw my past in you. I saw the same honesty, the same kindness, the same struggle. Ayan felt a strange warmth fill his heart. And when you missed your interview because of me, she said softly, I knew I couldn't let a good person lose such a big chance, not again. Not when I could do something. Ayan blinked slowly, absorbing her words. She continued gently, I didn't give you this job out of pity. I gave you a chance because you earned it with your heart. Ayan's eyes felt heavy with emotion. He lowered his gaze for a moment. Thank you, he whispered. You changed my life. Sarah smiled warmly. No, Ayan. You changed your own life the moment you chose kindness over your own needs. There was silence for a moment, warm, meaningful, powerful. Sarah stood up and said, Come with me. I want to show you something. Ayan followed her to a large glass window overlooking the busy city. Cars moved like tiny dots. People walked quickly, unaware of each other's stories. Sarah pointed outside. Look at them, Ayan. Everyone is busy. Everyone is running for their future. But the world still needs people who can pause for someone else. Ayan nodded slowly. Yesterday, she said, you helped a stranger. Today that stranger helped you. Tomorrow, you will help someone else. Ayan felt a deep sense of understanding. Life was a circle. What you gave always came back. He smiled softly and said, I will never forget this. Sarah replied gently, and never forget who you are. The world needs more people like you. The narrator's voice fades in. He missed his interview, but found his destiny. In the end, it wasn't luck that changed his life. It was kindness.